Baseball is hot here in New York, and I mean super hot, as the New York Mets could have Max Scherzer in that rotation by next week. I've told all the Met fans, adding Max Scherzer could cause problems when it comes to health. And I think Max Scherzer is a fantastic player. He's 38 years old. And yes, I think Max Scherzer is one of the more dominant pitchers we've seen in the last 30 years. But going into the season, I didn't think that Max Scherzer was going to be healthy all season long. And this lat injury could be significant throughout the season. We've seen this with Noah Syndergaard for 2 years. And now he's no longer with the Mets. He's with the Angels.
Good riddance.
So Max Scherzer's on his way back, and you should be excited because he says he's 100% healthy and he's ready to go. But if this happens again, he could be out a significant amount of time. He's been out for 5 weeks? Mm-hmm. This could be 8, 9, maybe the rest of the season. So the Mets need to make sure that Max Scherzer is 110% ready to come back because they do not want to see him out of this rotation again.
So far, the Mets have done a good job at not overreacting to the injuries, where the previous regimes, we see them rush players back like Noah Syndergaard. That was a big reason he never developed, especially for a guy that was a power pitcher, Matt Harvey, guys like that. They haven't rushed anybody back, even with guys like Carrasco struggling. Taijuan Walker has been good, sometimes bad, sometimes. And David Peterson, same kind of thing. They haven't initially said, all right, Max Scherzer, come back now. They've done both his rehab starts, 2 rehab starts spread out well in different minor league cities, and did it the right way. Same kind of thing with Jacob Degrom. He's starting his rehab this weekend. They're going to do probably 3 rehab starts with him as well. Bassett, too, just going on the COVID list as well. They scratched his start yesterday, and they're doing things the right way finally for a team that never does the right things the right way when it comes to injury management.
I think when you look at Bassett's situation, the COVID situation, Bassett will be back in 9 days, 10 days.
Yeah, he'll miss 1 more start.
Yeah,
probably.
he'll be fine. I know a lot of Met fans are upset about it because they can't stay healthy. But getting a guy like Max Scherzer back could definitely hide the whole Bassett situation.
Right.
McGill coming back. Now, he had a little bit of a setback, but I think he'll be back.
Now in the 60-day IL.
And Jacob Degrom, who could be back in 3 weeks. The Mets could be at full strength by the end of July. And this is something that everybody was looking forward to, is seeing Max Scherzer, Bassett, and Jacob Degrom in the same rotation. McGill was early in the season showing how good of a young talent he is. So nobody expected McGill to be what McGill has been so far this year. So take him out of the equation. Your 3 best guys, Bassett, Scherzer, and Degrom, have not been in the starting rotation at all this year. Now getting 3 of them back says a lot about where this team could go in the second half of the season. Now, the Braves are only 2.5, 3 games behind, and I know a lot of Met fans are worried about that. Everybody knew the Braves were going to be good this year. I don't know why anybody is sitting here and saying, well, we thought this was going to be easy. Everybody knew the Braves were going to be where they are today. Now, does that mean the Mets can't hold on to first place? I think the Mets are good enough. I mean, Pete Alonso has been sensational. McNeil's been one of the best hitters in baseball. Lindor has been back and forth, but he's showing you why the Mets paid him the money that they paid him, the $325 million. If you look at the Mets right now, you should be excited that they're getting healthy at the right time.
The bye is the one thing that really is the magnitude of why these fans are complaining now, because of the way the playoff system works. They're hoping to get one of those top seeds. So if they don't win the division, they're not going to. But again, you have to expect it from the Braves. I know it's not something that they did in conventional circumstances. They started off really slow like they did last year and then got on a massive winning streak of 14 games that oddly enough was broken up by the Cubs of all teams. But still, it was going to happen eventually once they started pitching and once they started getting healthy. Now, Ozzie Albies is still hurt for them too. So it's not like they're completely out of the loop yet when it comes to the injuries. But the Mets, they were healthy for the first couple of months of the season outside of Degrom. So now they're getting hurt and have to deal with it themselves. Every team's going to have to go through an injury patch at some point. So I think the Mets will still be fine in terms of at least getting into the playoff spot. And the Braves are not going to stay this hot forever, too. There is a thing called an all-star break. There is a thing called staying too hot. You're going to get cold at some point, too. Not massively cold to 14-game losing streak, but cold enough where if the Mets at least weather the storm like they've been doing, they should be fine.
The Mets are one of the top 3 teams in baseball. And if you're a Met fan right now, not having Jacob Degrom as long as they've had, not having Max Scherzer as long as they've had, it says a lot about this team and where this team could go this year. As far as the Yankees are concerned, there's really nothing bad to say about this team right now. The only thing that I could say about this team is they're going to have to figure out what they're doing with Aaron Judge. Because Aaron Judge has been so hot all season long. How many game winners does he have? Walk-off home runs does he have so far this year? 29 home runs. He's second in the league in almost every single statistic except one. First in many different other statistics. This guy has been the best player in baseball this year. And now you're hearing that there's a possible negotiation right now with Washington and Soto worth about $415 million. If that happens, that hurts the Yankees of bringing back Aaron Judge because he's going to want big-time money next year because he wants to be the highest-paid player in the league. And he bet on himself. And I give Aaron Judge a lot of credit. Not many players bet on themselves, especially in New York. And he has proven by betting on himself that he's going to get a lot of money. I didn't think the Yankees were going to pay him more than $200 million. Either did you, Speedy.
No, I didn't.
He's looking towards close to $300 million. I don't think he's going to get $300 million, but I think he's going to get between $250 and $275.
I don't think the Yankees are going to give him $300 million. I can still definitely see another team doing it just because of the big name and coming off the season that he had. But I just want to mention something about the Soto contract. The latest rumored one was $75 million more than the Nationals' initial offer. So this just shows a lot about how he upgraded his game to the MVP finalist that he was last year, too. Even with a kind of a slow start this year power-wise, too.
When you look at the Yankees right now, their rotation is the best in baseball. Their bullpen, the best in baseball. Their lineup, power-wise, is the best in baseball. Their defense is a top 5 defense in all of baseball. I don't think there's anything so far early this season, in the first half of the season, that you can say anything bad about this team. Aaron Boone is by far the manager of the year. That's not even an argument. And Brian Cashman, who's a free agent next year, because his contract's up at the end of the year, he's going to be looking for a lot of money, too. And I think the Yankees will pay him. It has nothing to do with the cap. They're bringing him back. Brian Cashman can part ways with the Yankees, and there'll be teams lining up for Brian Cashman's services. So to sit here today for all the Yankee fans saying, we don't need Brian Cashman, we don't need Aaron Boone, what are you fans saying now about this team that has the best home record in baseball? 34-9. One of the best away records in baseball in 22-12. There is nothing that you can say bad about this Yankee team. Now, Joey Gallo obviously is something that the Yankees are going to have to figure out before the trade deadline. Are they moving him? I think they should. They don't need him. He strikes out a lot. Changed his stance. He was hitting, and now he's not hitting again. They need to do something with him.
Just make him a Matt Stairs. Just bring him off the bench as a power hitter.
He's going to be a free agent at the end of this year. Right. They're not bringing him back. So they're going to have to figure something out with that. And I think the shortstop position, kind of Falefa is having a good season. Is he having a great season? No. He's up and down. He's made some mistakes this year. We've seen a couple of errors that he has made. If you can upgrade on that position, maybe a Carlos Correa, if the Twins are willing to trade him. Now, obviously, Minnesota right now is in first place in their division. Carlos Correa can opt out of his contract at the end of this year. So if he becomes available, maybe the Yankees, they want to win now. They believe they can win this year. Maybe making a move with Minnesota and bringing Carlos Correa for 1 year or for the rest of the season with the Yankees, that could really put them as the absolute favorites of winning the World Series. It's not even an argument. But I don't know if that's going to happen. But that is the only position I think that the Yankees have to upgrade. I think they need to add maybe another rotation arm. I don't know because they still have Herman coming back. We don't know where they're going to put Herman. Are they going to put him in the bullpen? Are they going to put him in the rotation? But when he comes back, you're adding more depth to the rotation. I have heard Luis Castilla's name being dangled out with the Yankees and the Mets and some of the other teams. Even Boston, I've heard their names getting brought up in conversation for Luis Castilla. Cincinnati Reds is the worst team right now in baseball. Yeah. So I see them really starting to downgrade and trade away pieces. Votto could be available too. So
that's a hefty price for the Yankees.
Yeah, I know. I'm not talking about the Yankees. Okay. I'm talking about other teams
definitely
that are looking for another bat to their lineup. So it's going to be very interesting to see what is going to happen at the trade deadline. But if you're a Yankee fan, there's really nothing bad to say about it. Giancarlo Stanton's hitting for power. Rizzo's hitting for power. Judge is hitting for power. Gleyber Torres is hitting for power. And by the way, Trevino, and that's another piece, and we've said this, all those haters out there, I hate Brian Cashman. He doesn't know what he's doing. They make a move, a small little move with the Texas Rangers, and they trade off a double-A or single-A player for Trevino. And Trevino right now has been one of the hottest hitters in baseball at the catching position. And he might make the All-Star
He's
team.
probably going to make it as the second All-Star catcher.
It's crazy. Yeah. All you Brian Cashman haters out there that you say that Brian Cashman doesn't know what he's doing. He finds a catcher that nobody wants, or he was on the scrap heat for the Texas Rangers, who is now going to be an all-star for the New York Yankees at the catcher position. So all you Yankee idiots out there that don't know what you're talking about and saying that Brian Cashman, he's weighed out his welcome, and Aaron Boone is the worst manager in baseball. If Aaron Boone has another 100-win season, he will be the first baseball manager in Major League history in his first 5 years as a manager to have 3 100-win seasons. Not 1, not 2, but 3. And he's never had lower than 90 wins. But he's a terrible manager. He doesn't know what he's doing. When the Yankees a couple of years ago had more injuries than any team in baseball, he won over 100 games. And I know the Yankee fans want to see championship after championship after championship. It's not that easy. So all you fans out there that have been throwing these two men's names under the bus or under the carpet or with the dirt, the only reason why the Yankees are where they are today is because of Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman. So eat your heart out. I've stuck up for both of them since last year. Tyler Harrison, all the Yankee haters or the Yankee fans that love to hate on Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone are not talking anymore. As far as the Freddie Freeman thing, it's a crazy story. Freddie Freeman fired his agent. I feel bad for Freddie Freeman because he was over there in Atlanta. He got his ring. He was waving to the fans. He started crying. He loved Atlanta. And a lot of people took shots at him on why he didn't sign back with the Braves. But now going back and looking at this story, it's not his fault. If Freddie Freeman knew that the Braves were going to match the LA Dodgers, he'd still be an Atlanta Brave. And the fact that his agent did not tell him that he had a contract in place with the Atlanta Braves shows you how these agents are controlling their players.
Yep. The ego took over for Casey Close, and how he lost his job with Freddie Freeman, the best first baseman in baseball pretty steadily the last 5 years. And a guy that was a great leader, a great franchise icon for the Atlanta Braves. He wanted to go back there, and you wouldn't let that happen because the Dodgers gave you an extra year, not even extra money, the same average annual values. 6 years, 162, what he got with the Dodgers, and what the Braves' final offer was in 5 years, 135. So just because of an extra year, you're not going to give Freddie Freeman his city where he played his whole career,
where he grew up,
where his heart is. You're not going to give him that. That is just so terribly unprofessional, and based on what Jeff was saying on the Sports Lab Mouse on Thursday, was criminal too, technically, because he's supposed to, he's supposed to disclose every offer as an agent out there, and he didn't do that. The Braves gave him that last offer after the lockout. And we knew that Freddie Freeman all offseason was going to stay with the Braves if the offers were close. He would even take him probably a little bit less to stay with the Braves. Like, even if he got $5-10 million less, he probably was staying with the Braves. Well, all we knew is the Braves didn't want to give him the 6 years. We're persistent on not giving him 5, trying to make it 4, but they never were going to lowball him the way that a lot of people were making it out to be. And what do you know? The offers in average annual value, exactly the same.
I don't think he's upset fully because he's still playing for the Dodgers. The Dodgers are going to be contenders. They have probably the most talented lineup on paper than any team in baseball.
Absolutely.
But it's sad because I think he wanted to stay in Atlanta. I think he wanted to weigh out his contract with the Atlanta Braves if he got an extension. Unfortunately, his agent really screwed everything up, and I feel bad for him. So I hope Atlanta fans could just lay off on him. This is not his fault. Chipper Jones took shots at him going to the Dodgers. It wasn't his fault. I don't feel bad for the Braves fans. I feel bad for Freddie Freeman because I think he really sincerely wanted to stay there with the Atlanta.
Absolutely.
I don't think it had anything to do with Acuna and him not getting along. I don't think it had anything to do with it. I think it had everything to do with the money and the extension. Even if he didn't get that 6 year, I think he would have signed that contract with the Braves. So it's a shame. I think anybody that's under him should fire him.
Dansby Swanson, you're next.
He should never have a job again in the major leagues as an agent. It's a horrible story. I feel so bad for Freddie Freeman.